Are you doing Jack's Encyclopedia today?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Just the mood you're in.
What do you mean?
Is that why you dressed up?
Yeah, for Jackson's Encyclopedia, yeah.
Mastermind.
I'm in a good mood.
Basically, Brassel's not
It's
here.
Friday.
He can't have a go at Brassel, so he's having a go at you.
Can I just ask,
Yeah, it's true, actually.
rhetorically speaking, if you have to say loudly to everyone, I'm in a good mood,
Yeah.
does that ever mean you are? Is it like
yeah, I
saying,
think so.
when you have to remind people you're the king, you're not really very
No,
powerful.
to be fair, I think you can remind...
I tell Sarah that I'm having a lovely time, and she's going to stop saying that. It sounds like you're not having a
Yeah,
lovely
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
But I am having a lovely time. That's why I'd say it.
But that's your sort of radio DJ thing, right? We're having a good time, aren't we, everybody?
Goodness
My
me.
wife's left me.
He's got a Jag now, Pete.
I have. It's in the shop.
Is it?
Yeah.
Couldn't fix it yourself in the end.
I didn't have time. The Bron Japan YouTube page took all my resources.
So you actually bought it? You've got it?
Yeah.
he's got
Battery's
it.
fucked.
Yeah. Was it full of piss the other day?
Full of water.
Full of
He
piss.
put the piss in the
batteries-
front and the back was full of water.
Full of
Someone
nature's
pissed on the
water.
battery.
Yeah, the Aqua Vita.
Someone's done a piss on the battery.
Right, let's go.
Back to life, back to reality, everybody. Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show sponsored by Betfair. The Premier League kicks off today. It's Friday, 11th of August. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Pete Donaldson.
I'm Luke Moore.
And I'm Vidusha Huntaraja.
Welcome, one and all, to a fabulous Friday on the Football Ramble. Guten Morgen, Guten Abend, Guten Evening.
Have you got the keys ready?
I've got the keys ready.
Good man.
There we are, Luke
Good man.
Moore.
Has someone found the keys to Harry Kane's plane yet?
What a saga!
I know,
What
it
a
is.
saga.
And it's not even
It's a late saga.
fully complete,
No.
everybody, Harry
No.
Kane. Yeah, but then it's such a big news story. This,
Might
Vic.
break while we're on air.
Might break when we're on air. We're not on air while we're recording.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
That we're going to actually talk about the start of the Premier League in just a moment.
Yeah.
But yesterday, Bayern Munich agreed a deal with Spurs to sign Harry Kane for more than 100 million euros, and Kane himself then agreed.
Yes.
Kane agreed, which means he wants to leave. And this is crucial to the
Yeah,
story.
it is.
Whether he gets on that plane or not, whether it is indeed Alan Shearer in the cockpit and he just flies around a bit and then comes back to Stansted Airport.
Kane won't notice.
Yeah.
They speak good English here, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do.
Do you remember Channel 4 did that documentary where they faked sending people into space?
Yes.
And they kind of flew them around.
Yeah.
Daniel Levy's doing just circle around for a bit.
New Spurs kits
Yeah.
revealed. Very similar.
All or nothing's good this season. Isn't it?
So, Luke Moore,
Yeah.
over to you.
We have that in England.
I fought.
Yeah.
I lost.
Mm.
Now I rest.
So, would you like to apologise to Harry, Charlie and myself?
You don't need to when it's family. No, look, you've won. I think regardless of what happens now, and obviously Fabrizio Romano and
David
David
Ornstein.
Ornstein, the two totems of transfer news,
Yeah.
among a sea of absolute nonsense usually, have both said that, regardless of all the games and the tricks that Levy was going to try and pull
Yes.
to change the deal or whatever, clearly, Marcus, Kane does want to go. He wants to go and do the medical. He wants to go and sign for them. So ultimately, that makes you correct. That makes you right and me wrong. I didn't see it coming. I thought it's a little bit of clarification. I thought the most that could ever happen with someone like Kane was that they would use Bayern Munich to flush out Man United. Bayern Munich would agree a fee with Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs and Man United didn't really necessarily want to deal with each other, but Man United could point to that and go, "You've accepted that fee, accept this fee,"
Yes.
and Kane will go, "Bang, I'm going to United."
But do
I
you-
could have seen that happening.
But do you accept that now that is just a conspiracy theory which you subscribe to?
It's not the only one.
I heard
I
that
did
Luke,
accept that.
Luke was off to Luton Airport with a cricket bat.
I was, yeah.
I'm just going to play some short form in Munich.
Don't bring cricket into this. Don't sully cricket's name.
Vish.
I've never seen Vish so disgusting.
Short form cricket, is that the terminology?
That is the terminology.
Thank
Are you
you.
impressed?
Yeah, as if Pete hasn't been up all night researching.
Yeah,
that.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, let
It's a
me be
minefield.
let me be the second or third person to say welcome back, Vish, by the way, from your cricketing travels
Thank you.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
South London.
Oh,
I would
you
say-
racked some miles up, didn't you?
How's your Avios account?
Yeah, you were in South Africa for the Ashes, I believe.
I was, yeah. So I'm still a bit jet lagged, Pete.
To wrestle this back.
Harry Kane, yeah, I was right, you were wrong.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Correct.
High fives all round.
There we go.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. What's most important, though, Pete, I think we can all agree,
Yes.
is at the time we're sitting here recording this now,
Yeah.
I think Harry Kane might be sat in a house, in a sofa, waiting for permission to get on the
The way
plane.
it was described, he was at the airport and Spurs gave him permission to travel for his medical in Munich. He was then expected to fly, of course, and he was driven to Stansted, but then he was told not to fly because there was some bits and pieces in the deal that Spurs still wanted to sort of hash out. And then it was described as Harry Kane was then at a nearby family home or something, which, as somebody pointed out, makes it sound like he's moved to a safe house.
Witness protection. Yeah.
By the way, could I just all of this stuff about whether Kane wanted to leave or not, and it looks like he did, so that's fair enough.
And 55.3% of our listeners said he was going to go on a poll on Twitter yesterday.
So a general kind of consensus was could go either way kind of thing, right?
Kexit.
Yeah, yeah. Kane's sit is probably going to happen, but
He's in a bed sit now, isn't
my,
he?
my argument was that if you hire clearly an incompetent as your agent because he's your brother, he's got no other clients, and is it really indicative of a great amount of ambition? It's not like you're not thinking about he can get the best deal for me. She's like, this is easy because he's my brother.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about that, and the reason that plays into what I was going to say now is because when you talk about him being told not to get on a plane, right? Can you imagine like Cristiano Ronaldo said, "All right, I won't get on it then."
Yeah.
They just go.
Yeah.
A lot of big players with big personalities and a lot of ambition will just say, "Well, sorry, but you've agreed the deal."
But he's all optics, though, isn't he? He's worried about his legacy at Spurs
But he always
and the
seems
Premier League
frightened. He always
legacy.
just seems frightened.
Yeah, but no, but Ronaldo will get on the plane and just circle around the airport for a bit. Makes it just look like
burn off some
I'm not
petrol.
going.
Yeah.
They're happy. I get my sort of photographs.
Yeah, so a lot of the times in that situation, you're right, but you're right from what you said before in terms of
you hear that,
competent
Marcus?
in Charlie Kane.
Yeah.
With regards to that'll be the agent being like, you get on the plane, I'll
deal with it,
I'll
yeah.
deal with the blowback.
Yeah,
you get on the
exactly.
plane,
But exactly.
and often the plane doesn't actually go to that destination.
Yes.
It might go nearby, but you basically won't be. It won't necessarily arrive, say in in Munich airport.
I'm just going to Berlin for the weekend.
Yeah. So it's sold as that. It's like,
Got VIP,
we're
hit the
going
club,
to
Berghain, yeah.
we're going to Spain for a break then.
Yeah.
We're going to.
there is a game tomorrow.
I was about to say on the eve of the Premier League.
No, we're not, I mean,
It's not even the eve, is it?
It's
not
not
the eve.
hard. It's not hard to
Rio Ferdinand will do it.
get in and out, is it?
True enough. True enough.
It's not the most ridiculous thing in the
I
world.
wonder
Get on a
if
train,
I
you
wonder if Charlie just got
Planes, Trains and Automobiles remake with Harry and Charlie Kane.
That's something we can agree.
Yeah.
I just wonder if the sort of sticking point is the fact that Harry Kane, he's got his Skechers football boot deal for life. And Bayern Munich, like, you're not wearing them here. It's Adidas or nothing here, big boy.
I love that Charlie Kane, right, has presumably got a deal for Harry Kane's boots. He's the biggest scoring England player of all time.
Yeah.
And he's got a deal for him for a boot so bad that he's had to dust it in among all this other news that's going on.
Yeah.
We'll bury that. We'll bury that today.
We've got you a incredible drink deal. Oh wow, one of the biggest drinks in the world, Coca-Cola. Well,
Wow.
cola, yeah,
Roller cola.
Panda Pop.
Can you still get Panda Pop?
Not even classic cola, is
Panda
it?
Pops is just a shoe before my son puts his foot in it. It's confusing for the film later on.
But I think this is presuming Kane does go. He wants to go. Certainly, that was the.
If Orney's calling it, he's unimpeachable.
I
in my
honestly
view.
think this is a superb move for him because
Same.
do you know what? There seems to be this. There are some corners of X, shall we say, or Twitter.
Yeah.
So we spoke about this, Marcus. You can't do this every show.
He's defined the Musketeer and calling it Twitter still.
It's X.
Brave guy.
It's X,
Brave
yeah.
guy.
Visionary.
Anyway.
Thought leader.
On social media,
Car full of batteries.
right? A lot of people on Soch are saying that.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Are saying that. Well, so what? Like he wins a Bundesliga, as if it's like I don't know, like winning a Sunday league or something. The idea of like winning the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich seems to be just completely immaterial.
Imagine playing in a one-team league, eh? Jesus Christ.
It's mad.
But you get to play on that one team.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
No, but the thing is, though, it's so much more. I understand Bayern have won it, for 500 years in a row, whatever it is, 11 years in a row, something like that, Bundesliga. The fact is, he's going to go to one of Europe's biggest clubs, one of the biggest and most elite clubs where you are expected to win every week. You're going to be latter stages Champions League, challenging for the Champions League.
The second favourites for the Champions League.
Second favourites for the
don't
Champions
need
League.
to be,
You're going to be the
told,
highest
do we?
earner there. You're
Yes.
going to be the main man. You're going to have a slightly less physical and intense season ahead of the Euros as well. It's you're going to a country which is not too dissimilar to here, if you
Totally.
all that kind of stuff. It's a glorious opportunity, and he signed a 4-year deal. you play there for 2 or 3 seasons, because you would imagine 2 or 3 seasons if this Alan Shearer Premier League record is so important. It's a brilliant move, and to go to a club like that to say, I know what it's like to play for one of the undisputed big boys of European football. This idea that people go, we still want you in the Bundesliga with Bayern. Well, what?
Michael Owen was one of them.
There you go.
Mickey Owen, you're one of your favourite interviewees.
One of my few interviewees.
Yeah.
But I just think this whole business with Alan Shearer's record, Alan Shearer is the 5th highest scorer in English top flight history. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything to the kids and so on. It's all about Premier League. But it's Jimmy Greaves. Yeah. And Alan Shearer's number 5 on that list. I get that, but Kane is England's top scorer. It will be unlikely if anyone ever usurps that, or indeed it will take a long time. The same with top goal scorer at Spurs. With this Premier League scoring record, get the Bundesliga, go after the Champions League. And I think his decision is spot on here.
I totally agree with that. I also think one of the things that is being overlooked here to a point, and maybe it isn't actually, because there's just been a sea of information and articles and updates out there that maybe gets lost between the cracks. But you say Bayern are second favourite for the Champions League. They're closer to favourite with Harry Kane.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Harry Kane makes them a better team.
They're a closer favourite to the Champions League than Spurs are.
Yeah. But I think that's the other element that is lost in this, because of this saga has been going on for about 3 years now. It's what Harry Kane brings to Bayern Munich. He is an outstanding player. They're not just getting a goal scorer. They're getting someone who posts De Bruyne numbers in terms of assists and how he works with the creation side of the team.
The wingers they have and the players around him, Brassel's already mapped it out. It's a brilliant fit.
And your point about a less grueling season coming into the Euros is absolutely spot on because of their winter break.
Yep.
He'll probably come back on loan to Spurs to play the Christmas period.
There you go.
Just top himself up every now and again.
And also as well, Harry Kane is Mr. Tottenham Hotspur, despite that photo of a youngster of him allegedly when he was wearing an Arsenal shirt. And he is their top scorer. He's one of the greatest players in their history. If he did go to Man City or Manchester United, for example, that would sully that a little bit. It would.
I don't think that matters anymore. I think gone are the days of undying loyalty, and maybe that was a bit more romanticised because there wasn't as fluid a movement in the transfer market. Players, do you remember there was a stage in the 90s where Italian rivals would just pick players off each other. Do you remember? And then suddenly that happened in the Premier League in 2000,
it took a little
2005, longer. Whatever, well, maybe a bit further on.
Do you remember Batistuta? He got his statue at Fiorentina and was like, right, I'm off to Roma to win Serie A.
Nice.
But it is I honestly, I think this is a brilliant move. But the personal stuff, of course, his wife is soon to give birth and so on. There's a lot of all that kind of thing. But we can only speculate on that. When you have these conversations, you're effectively playing fantasy football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also sorry, I realise I've co-opted this, but just one
fucking out of order. That's my job normally.
But I also feel like whatever decision he makes will be the right decision.
Yeah.
There are so many pros on both sides, and the cons are really what you might miss out on. It's nebulous concepts basically. So I think for him, either way, there won't be as much regret there.
No,
well, I don't think if he.
How can you turn down Bayern?
If he stays at Spurs his whole career, I think we've got a right to not take him that seriously.
Well, look, imagine a player
and that's our thing.
But a player of that calibre finishing his footballing career without a trophy.
Yeah.
But he's more chance of winning a trophy with England than Spurs.
But do you not think?
That's the.
But do you not think, Mark, we are arguing with people like Michael Owen who genuinely think that Bayern aren't an incredible footballing side and the Bundesliga isn't an incredible footballing league? What we should be looking at is Daniel Levy. The money was on offer.
Yeah.
This same amount of money would have been on offer at the start of the summer.
Yep.
Why is it happening on the day the Premier League starts?
Yeah,
what a ridiculous situation.
He always does that.
I know he always does that.
Well, it could have been Kane.
This is the worst example of it, isn't it?
But they did go. Bayern did go in with a couple of lower offers, didn't they? And it took a while to get to the.
But do you not think that could have happened?
I take the point.
Probably, yeah.
I take the point. The fact is that Ange Postecoglou is saying he wants Kane to stay, and Kane played recently against Shakhtar and da. But unconfirmed reports that Richarlison was the one who gave him a lift to the airport. He'll be very happy about this.
He's got an injury, mate.
Yeah,
serious injury.
Well, he can still work the pedals.
Do you not think, Pete, I assume, actually, no, I know you're a big eBayer, and when it gets to the end of the deadline, you're like, right, I'm just going to pay the price that gets me outright.
Yeah, buy it now.
I think I think Pete's definitely onto something because
they'll buy 2 Harry Kanes.
Yeah.
If you're a Spurs fan, I mean, you're thinking, okay, we haven't got a huge amount of time to replace him. we basically gonna do? And
We need one of the best strikers in the world for 100 million.
I think there's an element to this, and it's very hard to make a proper argument. Losing someone who scores 30 Premier League goals in a season is a good thing, but and I suppose overall it isn't a good thing. But if you're trying to find ways of being positive about it, you would probably say, look, this is a saga. Every single manager that's come in
has had to deal with
this. The last few years has been able to deal with this. And I think Postecoglou looks like he's dealt with it pretty well.
I do.
And you say that, I can't remember who it was who said it, he wants him to stay. Well, of course he wants him to stay. He's one of the best strikers in the world. But he's also been pretty kind of relaxed about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do whatever. I want it sorted one way or another, and then I can move on with my life because we're trying to build a team here. That's exactly the right noises he should be making.
Yeah.
So from Spurs' point of view, to cast it in a positive light, you could say, right, it's done.
Yep.
Get on with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone exhale, relax a bit, and now you attack the season without this hanging over your head, because at the very least, it's going to hang over his head. It would have hung over their head for another few months at least, because he may have signed a new contract, but he wouldn't have signed one probably straight away. So it's nipped in the bud. Move on with your life.
And they've got a huge fee as well, and he's only got 1 year left on his contract.
Enjoy your 12th place.
Enjoy your money.
Yeah.
Harry Kane is perhaps in an aeroplane as we're speaking, perhaps not, but we'll move on from that now and talk about the Premier League, because normally on a day like today we would call it the Premier League Eve, but it's not. The Premier League starts this evening on the Friday Night Lights in Burnley versus Manchester City. Pep Guardiola has said it's impossible for Manchester City to repeat the treble. What a Debbie Downer to start the season on. Well, you don't expect us to win all that, do you?
I think that kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Concentrate on the League Cup.
For him to say that. Yeah.
So if they win the League Cup, then it's a successful season.
But it's quite literally not impossible, is it?
Yeah.
No, but it's his way of saying.
At least agree on that.
Well, it's. Has anyone done the treble back to back?
No.
Not that treble, no.
So
But I would
So we're
maybe-
just going to do this every year,
I don't-
the treble 3 times?
Yeah,
Treble 5 times?
Treble cubed. This is all about company versus Guardiola, surely. Company said he's under no illusions about Burnley's place in the Premier League. And he said the club needs to be in permanent guerrilla mode. I do like that, going on raids, guerrilla warfare. Come on,
nice,
that is
isn't it?
big talk.
It's nice.
Yeah, I
It's
do
nice.
enjoy that. I think there's a lot of people who are interested in what Burnley are going to do this season. They were superb in the Championship, of course,
They were
last season.
Susan Perb.
They were indeed. They were all of that. And they're in the Premier League. And as Fulham showed last season, you can knock the Championship out the park and then go up and play football on the front foot and a very, very respectable finish.
I think, and that's an interesting template for Burnley and Luton, and I suppose for Sheffield United as well. It'll be a case of this is how we play, this is how we're going to approach this, and Burnley can look to Fulham as a template. But you touched on something there, which I'll expand upon. It's like it could easily, no matter how good you are from the Championship coming up, you could easily go 8 games without getting a single point.
Exactly.
And then what do you do?
Yeah.
Do you hold your nerve? Do you go, okay, we need to carry on doing what we do because sooner or later it's going to come right?
Yep.
And can you bring the players along with you?
Yeah.
Or do you have to change it and go, look, we just need to get something, and all of a sudden you're undoing your own philosophy? I think with Company, given the players they've signed in the summer,
They've got a little bit of Premier League experience.
they do.
Not huge, but a little bit.
So what he seems to have done is he's not gone after really big names. He's gone after players that maybe have got a little bit of experience in the Premier League and or can slot into exactly how he wants to play. So what he's almost doing is saying, how can we further kind of insulate ourselves for that higher standard while still playing the way we want to play? I think they've got a decent chance.
Can I just mention one of those signings?
Yeah.
Because he's clearly, as I say, we know he likes the detail and all the rest of it. Company very aware that Man City is their opening game of the season. He's got in Nathan Redmond.
Yeah.
Hey, Vish.
Distract him.
How about that? That is
Pep, who's that over there?
Right, you're going to play on the flank,
Yeah.
and in the second half you're going to play on the opposite flank, and you're going to just take all the notes he gives you. Every note he gives you, just put it in your pocket.
Yeah. How old do you think Nathan Redmond is?
30?
29.
Yeah.
29.
I thought it was younger. I thought Nathan Redmond was about 33, 34 for some
Imagine
reason.
that every time he runs down
How old
the
are you,
wing.
Nathan? How old are you, mate? Nathan, how old are you?
I'm just giving Pep ideas to questions to engage him with.
He's running down the wing on Pep's side. Pep's trying to grab at his hand.
I
Nathan,
miss you.
what do you
You're
think?
still real to me.
Why has Pep got dollar bills in his front pocket?
Why is Pep instructing Kevin De Bruyne to play Nathan
What?
Redmond in down the wing?
Why is
Kevin, look at his. What's he doing?
Why is Nathan Redmond in a thong?
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
Nathan, what do you think of the shape we're playing now? What do you think of this formation, Nathan?
I'll tell you what.
Does this please you, sire?
Redmond scores and Pep runs on like Mourinho.
Knee slide.
I'll tell you what.
Giving it a cup in the ears. What did I tell you?
Man City could be 5-0 up. Redmond gets a consolation. Guardiola's on the pitch.
Yeah, that's ideal for him. But Peter, this puts a lot of pressure on Nathan Redmond because not only does he have to perform for his own manager, he also has to perform for Pep Guardiola, who will have a go at him.
I just don't think his hairline can handle it.
Really?
Like you said, he looks older than he does.
Yeah, well,
so his
maybe.
hairline's
What
absolutely gone.
company's doing is saying you're going behind enemy lines in the first day of the season. If we don't get a result out of it, you're going on loan.
Yeah.
Until next time.
You know the bit in Inglourious Basterds where the actress is actually an agent?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's sat drinking with the Germans.
Yeah.
It's
Nathan.
Redford.
Nathan, what's Nathan doing in this dressing room?
Yeah, Pep Guardiola comes in with a football boot. Just put your foot on my.
Lads, we're playing 4-3-3. Don't do 3 like that.
Good reference.
That's a good reference.
Yeah. Well, I look, it is brilliant, isn't it, that Company faces off against his old side, Manchester City, of course.
I'd be very annoyed about that Luton Town postponement because obviously they were supposed to be playing Luton Town and Kenilworth Road is obviously getting some work done. So it would have been Man City, Luton, and I think Villa. I think Spurs are in the mix as well. So I think, you'd be looking at that Luton fixture to get 3 points on
This
the
ramps up the narrative, though, Pete, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any kind of conspiracy theory, kind of Matt Letizia, Tim Four Hat stuff around the fact that Burnley and Man City have somehow found a way to play each other on the opening day on a Friday night?
What do you mean, as in like?
Because the fixture computer is the fixture computer, right?
Yeah.
But it does seem to throw up some stuff.
It's always a bit of narrative.
It does seem to.
I think the press
He's just asking questions.
That's Luke Moore showing the old lawyer school there. Well, it does seem to throw up a bit of stuff, Your Honour.
I'm just asking the question. Like me and Matt Letizia, I subscribe to Matt Letizia's newsletter.
I know you do.
And we get a lot of questions
Do
after
you read
us.
that before or after Keys' blog, or do you read Keys' blog after so you can wash it off?
My Friday is Matt Letizia newsletter, Ramble, Keys blog.
The thing that worries me is
breakfast,
that,
main course, dinner.
is that Luke, to all intents and purposes, appears to be a quite strong-willed, intelligent man.
Appears to be.
But I do worry. The more UFO videos he watches, the more videos he sends me, and I think he's surprisingly suggestible.
I'm down the rabbit hole of UFOs. I've been gone for about a year.
You're the bloke from Bling 182 won't shut up about him.
With no resources, so I can't do anything about it.
Oh, no.
Can we just dwell on the fact that Luke Moore called lunch main course?
I said breakfast, main course, dinner. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means.
Is that brunch?
It's a big old feast. Well, back to the Premier League though. It is. I think this is a mouthwatering one, Burnley, Man City, because we want to see what Burnley have got to do. And is it best to play Man City first, Vish? Catch them cold.
I think so. If you think of the FA Cup meeting last year where they got pumped 6-0, where that was the first. Pep and Vincent.
Up a tree.
Yeah, with Nathan Redmond on the side. But that was the first meeting between them, and it felt like a bit of a free hit. We all kind of knew that Burnley's priorities at the time were the league, and they smashed that. And what Luke and you were talking about earlier about them having to tailor their approach because I think they averaged 65% in the Championship last season. They're not really going to do that, but obviously they don't want to lose a lot of those qualities because we see it more and more with teams coming up now. And I suppose Brentford is quite a big time example of this, but like. Actually, you keep the ball and you counter-attack well. You're going to do pretty well in this league.
Do you know what, though, Vish? We look at Fulham as the template, as Marcus said earlier.
Also Fulham, yeah.
Yeah, I was at the opening day of last season when Fulham played Liverpool at Craven Cottage, and it was 2-2, and Fulham played Liverpool off the park.
Yeah.
Now, I know Liverpool didn't have a great season last year, but no one was expecting that.
But
they played the way that you'd expected them to play if they were really confident still in the Championship. And they went the first 3 games, didn't lose a game. They lost. I think they narrowly lost to Arsenal a few games in. And their season was typified by them playing in this way.
Just carry on doing what you're doing.
And I don't think you can necessarily say that at the time, Fulham had a markedly better record of the Championship than Burnley have had. So
Silva said before the Fulham season last year, he was worried. There was down signings and it looked very, very bleak and you lot thought they were going to get relegated. But with regards to this, but it's interesting you mentioned Liverpool because Liverpool, obviously, they won 2 trophies out of 4, nearly an unprecedented quadruple season for them. And clearly inertia set in for a lot of last season and they tried to pick up the pieces towards the end. They did a little bit but didn't get into the Champions League. It will be interesting to see how Manchester City do this season or certainly how they start because that treble-winning season and the scenes of celebration and so on, I'm not saying they're going to be rubbish. That's not how Guardiola does things and we have the examples of his Barcelona sides to see how they could respond perhaps. But it could, if you're Vincent Kompany, you're saying right up and at 'em.
Yeah, especially if you think of the, Man City, they started very well last season. But if you think of the losses that they've had, Gundogan being the standout one. Also, someone like Mahrez, who always seems to be able to unpick these kind of awkward games.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
There is, I suppose, much in the same way, we could probably argue this about any team who did remotely well last year, that they might be able to be caught cold first game of the season. But also,
basically what we're saying
Burnley at home, under lights.
That's
a pretty good way to start.
It is, yeah. What we're saying is don't win too many trophies, otherwise you become rubbish.
Yeah. Because then people, where do you go?
Well,
that's why it's impossible.
It's proof that Man City are not very good now because they won the treble last season.
Exactly. That's why Harry's going to Germany.
Indeed, yeah. I'd like to see Burnley start with their new goalkeeper, James Trafford. Because we've got him from Manchester City. It'd be lovely to see him because we saw him at the under-21 Euros.
Great record, for England,
Indeed. Peter, what have you got on your screen?
What have I got on my screen? I've got an email. Hi all, just seen Sammy Lee shopping in Zara, of all places, which seems like a rogue shop for a man who's only ever seen in a tracksuit, which he was wearing when I saw him. I can only imagine Big Sam was in the changing rooms waiting for Sammy's advice on which colour cargo pants to buy and his next batch of Werther's Originals.
Who's that from? Aston.
That is from a man called Aston.
And I like the idea of Sammy Lee just trying to find something with the biggest pockets possible to get all his
keep
wares
all of
in
his
there.
things, yeah.
I like that Big Sam's got a mention and the Premier League hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, he'll be loving that.
Yeah, he will.
He's in Zara just trying to get some winter clothes.
The most random assistant manager spot I've ever had. I told you, I saw John Carver cycling down the Thames on a quite an old mountain bike with a plastic bag on each handlebar.
Yeah, good.
I have no idea why.
If you want to treat yourself, do give Sammy Lee suit a Google because, to be honest, his suit collection is actually quite good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
double-breasted woolen
waistcoat,
woolen waistcoat, and
it's a nice fit.
Stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I'm intrigued as to where we'll see Burnley's assistant manager, what he'll be up to.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Craig Bellamy.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, everybody, you can get in touch with the show at any time. We're at Football Ramble on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, or you can email us at footballramble.com. All right, let's have a quick break.
Hi, I'm Dion Dublin, and when I'm not banging my dube, I'm listening to the Football Ramble.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. Right, let's talk more Premier League. Last season, Chelsea versus Liverpool was last on Match of the Day on a particularly strange occasion. Well, it's at the top of our second half on the show because we want to respect that fixture.
And the two massive clubs involved.
Indeed, yeah. And also the massive signing that Liverpool have appeared to have made. They have beaten Chelsea to Moyes' Casido. They've agreed a British record £110 million fee with Brighton after Chelsea could only stump up £100 million.
Yeah. Don't believe that bit.
Do you not?
Yeah,
I reckon they could stump up another 10 million.
We're not paying that for Bellingham. We will pay it for Caicedo, who is objectively a worse player.
Well, yeah. I mean,
they are different players.
They are, but who would you rather have in your team?
Yeah, I think Bellingham, obviously, but I suppose if you were getting, I'm not saying Bellingham couldn't do a lot of the Caicedo things that he would do.
I'm just saying,
be a waste of Bellingham.
But Vish, what I'm saying is, go through the summer, and if Bellingham isn't part of the equation, I imagine Liverpool fans are pretty happy with that. I'm sure they're fairly happy anyway. But if they're being honest with themselves, they're going, okay, it was reported by credible media outlets earlier in the summer that Liverpool were on record as saying we're not going to pay that amount of money for one player, and that's why we're not going for Bellingham. Could have been bollocks, but it was attributed to them, and now they have done it day before the season starts. Well, it PR-wise doesn't look great.
There's also Jürgen Klopp's comments after United re-signed Paul Pogba from Juventus about how market inflation and stuff like that, and Liverpool would never want to be responsible for something like that. That seems irresponsible, and
I mean, you said Liverpool fans would be happy. I'm sure that any happiness now would have been replaced with anger and annoyance towards you.
At me, yeah, probably. I'll be the lightning rod. Yeah. But they needed. Look, I think a mammal with a fucking head in that midfield would have been an improvement given what they've gone through this summer.
I mean, the only thing
they needed players for sure.
It's a massive upgrade on Henderson as well.
With regards to the money, I mean, the Bellingham deal was done, what was it reported in April or something with Real Madrid? Real Madrid apparently worked very, very hard, and against Manchester City, they seem to be the rival, and he would have probably, again, according to some reports, made a little bit more money at Manchester City, but Real Madrid really, really, worked at that, and of course they got their man. And at that time, Liverpool were trying to kind of rectify their season, if that's the right word. They hadn't got any of the money that they had from sales to Saudi Arabia. And they couldn't guarantee him Champions League football, and of course they haven't got Champions League football. So when your points sort of stand, as you say, Jürgen Klopp saying about inflation in the market, and we're not going to pay that kind of money for a player. They have paid that money, but the money is now available. I suppose.
But that's fine. My point is, it's about how you manage the message. There's no disgrace.
Okay, well, indeed,
there's no disgrace, whoever you are, in losing a player to Real Madrid. We all know that.
But they're trying to
don't say anything.
But they're trying to save face, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but they've just shat all over their own face, haven't they?
But they have signed a brilliant player.
He's a good player, and you're right. We shouldn't get away from that. He's
it's
a fantastic
a huge
player.
feat, and it takes the pressure off Declan Rice a little bit, Peter.
Yeah, but I mean, proven Premier League experience is the new young English talent, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
it adds 20 million onto whatever price you pay.
Yeah,
There's a lot to be said for that, because do you remember when Liverpool signed Alisson?
Yep.
And people were like, oh, that's a lot of money. And then Chelsea signed Kepa.
Yes.
They're like, oh, that's more money.
Yeah.
And as you say,
Who would you rather have?
probably similar players.
Kepa or Alisson?
Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of the point, but it massively weighed on Kepa's shoulders, but because it started the conversation, and then someone gazumped it before he even had the conversation. Well, got into the conversation.
It's worth saying that Brighton have done very well at it.
Oh my goodness, haven't they just?
Because they've played it perfectly by essentially setting up this kind of like behind the scenes auction.
Yeah,
and what they've said is, I think there's a temptation when you're a club the size of Brighton and you're running a club of that size. The decisions you make, I think, emotionally will probably be like, it's really frustrating that we found a player that Caicedo who's been brilliant. We don't think it's fair that we're going to lose him. That's what tends to be informing all the decisions that are made. Whereas Brighton have actually been a lot more adult about it and said, okay, that's the way football is. We're going to lose him, but if we are going to lose him, this is what's going to happen. And at least they can then say to their fans, well, it's 110 million quid. We're going to lose him anyway.
Well, and you can argue that it would even be stupid to turn that down.
Yeah.
Like with that kind of money, and I know people might say, now people know Brighton have got a lot of money, they'll be held to ransom. You're always going to take that. And also as well, the way that club is run, it's not just about signings for that kind of money.
The remarkable thing about it is when Caicedo pulled out that statement, basically to try and engineer a move to Arsenal at the start of the year, I was kind of like, right, this would be really interesting. I know we were able to do it with Cucurella, but for such a sought-after midfielder to have publicly said he wants away, for him to then, for them to then make this much money from him is remarkable. As Luke said, they've played it perfectly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, whatever happens, wherever he does end up, and it does obviously look like Liverpool at this juncture, if other teams have got anything about him, they are starting the fund right now for whoever Brighton get in to replace him. He will also end up being a world beater.
Well, do you know what? You're looking at Brighton's transfers.
Well, they've already got James Milner, haven't they?
There you go, you see.
They'll do a job.
Looking at Brighton's transfers this season, what they've done in the window, again, you think, there's nothing too inspiring. That's what they do.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what they do. But let's focus on Chelsea and Liverpool. And Liverpool have had, two big signings from Brighton. Well, Caicedo, again, it's not signed, sealed and delivered yet, but it looks like that's going to happen at the time of recording. I don't know whether he would be available for Sunday, presuming the deal all gets ratified, etc., etc. Alexis McAllister will be. And Luke, you said that Liverpool needed an overhaul of that midfield. It was a little bit leggy. They've sold Fabinho, they've sold Henderson, notably, of course.
And Milner.
Well, Milner's gone as well.
Let's not leave Milner out of this.
No, you're
absolute
right.
Servants of the Premier League.
You're absolutely right. He still is, baby.
Yeah,
He still is.
He'll play 38 games next season. He'll play every minute.
So it's interesting that Liverpool, perhaps, we've said this for a little while, they're in transition or whatever, I don't know, but Chelsea certainly are.
Look at all the teams at the top end of the Premier League. It's actually quite a fascinating situation because I agree with what you're saying about Chelsea, but, Manchester City have lost two key players and they've brought a couple of players in and they're probably the exception, but they've still got to solve or answer the questions that you mentioned the first half about potential inertia. Liverpool in transition, Chelsea are in transition, Spurs are in transition. Arsenal need to prove again they can do what they did last season. That was a kind of outlier season for them. No one was expecting that.
So Manchester United?
Man United are building, but can they maintain that momentum?
So what's the difference between building and transitioning?
Well, I think Man United have shown that they've got a platform based on what they did last season. I think
you can transition down.
I think Vish will know better than me, but I think what Ten Hag is starting to do there, should be encouraging. I don't think there really should be any question.
I think Arteta and Arsenal are building. I don't think it's transitioning.
I think Man United have had a better track record overall, though, haven't they?
Okay,
definitely. I think the Chelsea story is really interesting. So you remember, like last time Poch was in the Premier League, probably a year, 2 years into his tenure at Spurs, he had great players, Lamela, Eriksson, Ali when he's playing.
Started that with Lamela.
He had great players, but he didn't have world beaters. He didn't have, and obviously he spent a couple of years at a glitzy boutique store, like with all, in Doha, but he's kind of like now he's in the Premier League, and he can really sort of the only will he has to bend is Todd Bowley, who I mean, to be honest, the manager before the last one, he was just trying to sign Cristiano Ronaldo constantly, but so he will undercut him at any given time.
I reckon Bowley's the kind of guy.
Fascinating.
He's just always on the phone.
Yeah,
he's calling you all the time. What do you think of this player? Fucking leave it.
Just
leave it. The window's shut.
Don't worry about it. But I just like the fact that he's brought in like players like Tyler Adams, who should be there by the time this show goes out.
That's
probably.
right. Yeah.
I think that's those kind of things are lovely signs. Just really intense, like not particularly physically imposing, but hard working.
You think you get the best out of someone like violent, but someone like Mudryk, of course, who came huge price tag, a lot of promise, didn't quite do it, but then crying out loud, Chelsea were a bit of a basket case last season. That's the type of player that you think Poch would get the best out of.
I think it's a big ask. I think Pete's
it's a huge job, but I'm excited about it.
It's big. It's a big ask.
Pete's excited about Chelsea. That's interesting.
The players going out and coming in again. It's just the turnover is unbelievable.
But the manager, you're looking at the manager.
He'll succeed despite of the system rather than because.
But how well do you think Chelsea will do this season? Are you thinking that they should be knocking on the door for fourth spot?
I think they're going to be the most fascinating team to watch this season because if you think of what Pochettino did at Spurs, as Pete alluded to, he had a lot of young, unestablished talent, very talented players, but unestablished in terms of profile, and brought them up to scratch and to standard to a high quality as well.
And had a huge influence on Harry Kane, by the way.
And they also, and he's at a Chelsea squad now where there's been a lot of turnover. There are a ridiculous number of talented youngsters in that team.
Yeah,
and I don't just mean kind of like 18, 19-year-olds. I mean young 20-year-olds who are hungry for starts, who want to be given responsibility to do stuff.
And at Spurs, he managed to sort of balance, relatively good-looking football. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited about this season for Chelsea. I think Chelsea fans should be too.
And I also think like if he wants to distract Todd Bowley, he can, shake his keys or something.
That's my gig, baby. Reece James has been named as their new captain.
Yeah, and I think that does. I've got nothing against Reece James.
Eventful time for the Jameses family.
It is. I think, as I said to you before, I mean, he's still only 23, Reece James, and all those great English right backs that started coming through.
Yeah.
I think on his day, he's the best of the lot.
He is.
He's got everything in his locker. But I do think actually it does speak to the amount of turnover of players that he's been selected as captain. I was kind of confused. I thought about that, and I thought, who are the other candidates really? And I suppose the only one I could settle on was Raheem Sterling. And I'm surprised he's been passed over for it. But I don't really know how it was appointed because I know at some clubs they do a vote and all that kind of thing.
Perhaps around the dressing room. I mean, James is a product. Let's be honest. You love it when you have a player who's come up through the ranks and all.
Yeah, but I suspect, Marcus, that captaincy of a club and of an international team is something that the players themselves care a lot less about than we do.
Yeah, possibly.
The media obsess over it quite a lot.
David Beckham recently, or was it recently, certainly said that it was the proudest moment of his career when he was made England captain.
That's great.
I mean, there was a lot of England marks in the England side that, you sort of go, do you think Brazil care?
Yeah. No, when we used to have a Ramble 5-a-side team, you bought a captain's armband for yourself.
You all bought one as well.
We all bought it for you.
Yeah.
So don't tell me you weren't proud.
I was proud.
Right, okay.
I was proud.
Did you wear one on both arms?
No other candidates. Listen,
we
Vish.
weren't swimming.
Vish, I looked around the squad
swim.
and I thought I'm on my own here. There's only one thing for it.
Because you've been sent off for kicking people.
yeah, they're still playing.
Throw away your medals. What medals?
Peter, are you excited for Newcastle United this season?
I am, yeah. I mean, it's kind of, as always, this new project Newcastle-wise is tainted and tinted, and you got to worry about everything. But
that documentary looks pretty thin-grilled, doesn't it?
There was one of the trailers they sort of put out was like them
just a man stable in a car,
trying to secure the services of Anthony Gordon. It was so low peril.
This is
wasn't it?
Amazon's All or Nothing documentary on Newcastle United.
Just put some music behind it.
Comes out today. Because the fog in the not that.
I do think they're bluffing. Actually, I think they're bluffing. I think we can go in harder and we can get Anthony Gordon.
Can we get Gaza in the background supping on sickly sausage rolls?
Yeah.
Imagine
Lovely.
that. Guys in the background just munch on the song. That'd be a lovely nod, wouldn't it?
It would be a lovely nod.
I
It's
think I might draw the line there.
it's next on my list to watch.
Can we get Tony Blair on?
TV show Hijack.
There you go. Well,
Oh,
yes.
God.
Sean Longstaff was talking about the Amazon documentary, of course. And he said of the experience, I'm just a little fish, so the crew weren't really following me around. I'll leave that to Popey and Trips. I'd just go and glide by. At one point, I was thinking, am I ever going to get on this thing?
The great thing about it is the first line there.
Yeah.
I'm just a little fish.
Yeah.
Reads like it's been translated from another language.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like it's English isn't its
Or it's
first
a
language.
reference to, was it Kieran Dyer or...
Jose Mourinho's little horse?
Yeah, little horse. That's
Big
nice.
fish in a small goldfish
The
bowl.
Mourinho's little horse was great.
He should have said, I'm a little seahorse as a nod to
As the
Yes.
badge.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
The Mourinho little horse was amazing.
That was class, yeah.
It's so good.
But Longstaff apparently went on holiday with some of the squad to Las Vegas in the summer, and he said, I was glad the cameras didn't follow us there.
Why does he say that?
Oi, oi.
Yeah.
Imagine if the
Sounds
interview.
terrible.
Imagine if the interview.
Well, we
had-
do-
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in my room just crying.
He started
killed a man.
He started listing off activities, and the people are like,
We
yeah.
stole Mike Tyson's tiger.
Oh, dear. Yeah, so they're kicking off against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Hard one to
Yeah.
call that.
I think it's
Villa are intriguing.
I think it's a really nice opening fixture because it's on telly, and you've got two upwardly mobile teams. Villa have disappeared way under the radar, in my view. Emery's a brilliant operator. They've been so good under him, and I feel like people have been a bit like, oh yeah, it's just, he's just pulled them back to par after Gerrard's fucking nonsense, which is partly true, but he's got an amazing record as a coach, Emery, and I think a real nice test to see what the teams are on the opening day against a team like Newcastle at St James's Park as well is a really interesting fixture.
I mean, they played each other like 10 days ago or something. 3-3.
It's not the same, though, is it? Not the
Yeah,
same.
it was quite intense, quite kicky.
Was it?
Not the same.
It's not the same. But Newcastle have been absolutely flying in pre-season,
Yeah.
and every player has looked pretty decent, in my opinion.
It's quite sad for Villa that Emi Buendia is out for 8 months. I
That
think he
is-
was quite crucial to
Really sad.
because he works hard. He's so good on the ball, and I feel like he was just developing. Well, not just developing because
I
he
know what you mean.
finished really strong at the back end of the season, but being able to play out wide and also influence in the middle. Like very few players do that. Like Coutinho was doing that back in the day, but Buendia was doing that here and now.
Indeed, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing Ollie Watkins. It's kind of like the Euros are coming. Obviously, Tony's still serving his ban. There's a chance there for somebody to come in and try and get that second spot behind Harry Kane.
Do you think the back end of the season was the first time you really, and I'm projecting a bit here, but do you think it was the first time you really saw Watkins actually do a bit more than hold up the ball with your back to a defender?
Yeah.
He felt a little bit more involved, a bit more intricate than previously.
That's why when coaches like Emery come here, it serves the England team.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Because they go, what have I got here? Like, why have you just used him in a weird way?
Yeah.
I know what you mean about Watkins, but I think there's a combination of answers to that. I think one is that it's not because Kane has always been so much far and away number one.
Yeah.
That it's almost a bit like an afterthought as to who you pick up.
Yeah.
Because he's captain, he plays all the time, and he always scores, right? And so it almost becomes an afterthought of a conversation.
I know what you mean.
And then you have. Do you have a massive amount of England's English strikers?
Two of them should be on display there.
Wilson,
and
Tony,
and
Watkins,
yeah,
and
Calvert-Lewin's
dropped off. So that it's not really a massive amount of options.
Yeah, I mean, people might say Rashford, but he's clearly going to be on one of the flanks.
Right.
You would think. Gentlemen, let's finish off the Premier League chat with the aforementioned Brighton at home to Luton on Saturday at 3 p.m. Luton Town kick off their first campaign back in the top flight since 1992. And they've signed Ross Barkley for the occasion. Who looked very confused, didn't he?
Andy said that when Ross Barkley signed for Nice, the manager publicly stated he didn't know where he played.
Because he was like, "Who are you?"
Which is not great. is it?
I can't believe that to be true. I mean,
but that's. I reckon he would have meant that.
Where do you prefer to play?
Yeah, because
it's clearly not.
Okay, but I could ask you. You're a Ross Barkley fan by proxy because he's English.
He played in that many great England performances. Got his bronze medal at the UEFA Nations League. Yeah, carry on. Do you want me to carry on?
What's his best position?
Fish, why are you doing this?
I don't know what I got myself in for. I'll just put my hand in the crocodile's mouth.
None of us even know when the next interesting England game is, and that you're still doing it.
It's not far off. It really isn't.
It never is it?
Well, look, I'm getting my calendar where I just tick off the days.
So what would you say Barkley's best position is?
Well, I say
that I asked that someone who doesn't have an answer.
No, it's a fair question. I mean, midfield, I would say.
Jesus. In a 4-4-2.
Yeah, there you go.
Staying and then going.
He needs someone to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, he might. It will be interesting how they use him. Whether he was number 10 or how Luton set up. Would it be sort of out wide and so on? He's a little bit versatile. He didn't have a great time at Nice, but we shall see. But Luton is a fascinating story, and of course we've done a two-part. A series for you to listen.
Deep dive.
A very deep dive
Yeah.
into Luton Town on the Football Ramble. Rob Edwards, the manager, is a beautiful man to listen to. He's a beautiful man to look at.
Yeah, he's always rendition at the old promotion party.
Yeah.
He let himself down there.
Well, he started... So Bon Jovi's
okay.
always...
He started like he could hold a note.
When
yeah.
he started singing it, I was like, oh, here we go.
But he's done what a lot of amateur singers do, where he's not understood how high it goes.
How good John Bon is.
Yeah, so what you need to do is you need to work out in your mind how high it's going to go and then start accordingly low.
That's right.
But he started off way too high.
He did,
You're going to take on, I mean, Marcus knows better than anyone, Pete. You know, you're going to take on a John Bon Jovi number.
Yeah.
You've got to show it the respect it deserves. You know, Marcus went and saw Bon Jovi like 4 times in a row.
In a row?
Last year.
What does that mean?
No, you've been seeing him on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Twice.
Is that
multiple?
You're a multiple,
So
you're a multiple Jovius.
You saw Bon Jovi twice.
Yeah. I just to
Is
make sure.
Is there something you didn't get in the first?
Yeah.
Indeed, there was.
Not getting double meanings.
No,
The first time, right?
It was the second time was a freebie. And
I mean, to be fair, always out of
From
all
John.
of Uber, that's the best Bon Jovi song.
he said that. He said it was his best song.
I think it's a good number.
Dead or Alive's
It's
a
the
favourite.
it's the only song I know all the lyrics to.
What?
I'm
The
just
only
so
song in the
forgettable.
entirety of.
We're not doing that. We are not doing that.
Hang on. I just want just one question before we move on. The national anthem.
That is my national anthem.
Well, anyway, look, Luton, again, we talked about how fascinating it will be to see Burnley, but I think a lot of people are looking at Luton and thinking, blimey, is this even a professional outfit?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? But what do you think for Luton, Luke? Are you thinking they're going to
I
go
like
plummeting straight back down?
I like their little hats.
Do you like that? Well, they are the Hatters.
Yeah, they had little straw boaters on, didn't they, in their promotion pie?
There you go.
My less patronising answer is that what's interesting is that Rob Edwards even admitted himself
Yes.
that he didn't really change much when he took over from Nathan Jones. Now, obviously, that was quite early in the season. I think he's doing himself a bit of discredit there because they delivered what they delivered. But if he's basically saying that he used Nathan Jones's template, then obviously this Premier League season is going to be a much bigger challenge for him. And for example, this is a kind of similar point to what we were making about Burnley earlier, but more specifically to Luton. For example, they like to play with 2 strikers, right? Are they going to do that in the Premier League? Are they going to do that in an opening game away to Brighton, which is by no means their toughest ask of the season, but it's still a really tough ask. Brighton are well settled, know what they're all about.
Yep.
We've got to the point now, even just as football fans, where we see Brighton and we go, okay, they've lost a couple of really important players, but we trust them to kind of deal with it. With Luton, there's a lot of questions to be answering, and particularly away from home, how they're going to approach it is the most interesting question. I think they've been more intense, from what I saw of them, they've been a lot more intense under Edwards than they were under Jones. But it's a tough ask to do that when you get so little of the ball, and particularly in the summer months. So I think that, to me, it looks like the players buy into the system, they buy into Edwards, but again, it's that old adage. When they go 7 or 8 games at that point, what they're going to do.
I'm intrigued with that you say about the 2 up front, because it could be one of those little cheat codes that no team prepares for an opposition to have 2 up front. Now, there may be a reason for that. They don't prepare for an opposition to have 5 up front as well. I get that. But sometimes, when you have younger players or whatever, they've been drilled through the academies, through the systems to play against 1 striker and 2 wingers, And I think Edwards might mix it up a little bit and think, right, let's see what they can do with this,
The other thing you've got to look at is
Brighton will win 5-0.
The other thing you've got to look at is that how many of their players have Premier League experience? And I'll tell you something now, it's not many.
I think it's
Ross Barkley.
Ross Barkley's one, Marvellous Nakamba's the
Nakamba,
other.
yeah.
He was there on loan last season, they've signed him permanently. Other than that, it's quite, like I said earlier, it's quite thin gruel.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find players, and maybe that's a strength. Maybe they're not going to be scared of anything, and that's a good thing. But to me, it looks like, the 2 players they started off with up front last season, Colton Morris and Elijah Adebayo. I don't want to be disrespectful, but are really people going to be frightened of how many goals they can score?
Well, we shall see. We shall see.
Right, now it's time for the Football Ramble ACCA with Betfair. With Betfair, you can build your own football accumulators this season with their new 90-minute payout, where all winning selections will be paid out at 90 minutes on their match odds 90 markets, regardless of what happens in added time. And with the amount of added time we're going to see this season, that's actually quite a big deal. For every weekend in August, you can also celebrate the return of the season with a completely free ACCA on the football. So every Friday on the preview show, we're going to each choose our own weekend Premier League game and build an ACCA of 4 match odds 90 bets. Marcus, you kick us off first.
Everton versus Fulham. Fulham to win.
We'd expect you to start no other way.
On the front foot. Mitrovic, he's going nowhere. He's back in business. Lovely old job.
That's an amazing heel turn by him.
It's just the Fulham way.
It turns out they don't want me anymore.
Well,
so now I'm really dedicated.
Did they not want him?
I don't know. It didn't happen, did it?
I mean, with regards to the Kane thing, you said, give me an example of when a player's wanting to leave, and he hasn't gone. There's another one.
It's the silver factor. There's another one. The other one he picked was like an obscure player from like Italy.
Andrea Pirlo, an obscure player.
So you had to go
World
back a long
Cup and
way.
Champions
You had to
League.
go a long way
I
back.
just popped in my mind.
So Fulham to win. Vish, what have you gone for?
I've gone for Newcastle to beat Aston Villa.
Ooh.
Yes. That's as good as 3 points for me. Yes.
And Vish, we know, is a predicting machine.
He is.
Yeah,
Still dining out on that one.
It's an amazing pre-season.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason I picked Newcastle, because I think, they've got new faces to blood in, but they've had a very enthusiastic pre-season. Starting this season with a lot of the energy from the end of last, I think it's going to carry forward.
Ooh.
And I think also, if you think of the possibilities of what Newcastle can achieve this season, I think the fans there will be crucial at St James's Park. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere, isn't it? Particularly on an evening game, so fair enough. Peter?
I've gone for the match Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. I've gone for an Arsenal win.
Sticking your neck out there.
Arteta has, you got to have a gimme at one point in this competition, haven't you? If he's learned anything from last season, Arteta, is that you can't drop points. So get him in.
I think Forest could have a good season,
That's what we're doing. We're dropping too many points.
Dropping
We
too
need
many
to stop
points.
it.
Yeah. Stop that.
All right, so that's an Arsenal win. I've gone for the Chelsea versus Liverpool game. I've gone for a home win.
Ooh.
I've gone for Chelsea to win. I'm not. I think Liverpool are a few players short still. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't want to be the one to let us down the first week, so I went for a Sunday game.
Coward.
Yeah, so by the time it comes round to my game, it'll either be a huge amount of pressure or it'll already be all over. So, but I do think I kind of echo some of your comments earlier about Pochettino. And I think, like I say, I think Liverpool are a couple of players short, and Chelsea being at home, I thought that's the one that swung it for me. So, in summary, Fulham to win, Newcastle to win, Arsenal to win, Chelsea to win. That's our Football Ramble ACCA for this weekend. Remember, with Betfair this season, when you place a bet on their match odds 90 markets, your winning bet will be paid out in full at 90 minutes. Any bets that are winning at 90 minutes but are then undone by some stoppage time drama will not be affected. And that's the same for the Ramble ACCA every week. A £10 bet with Betfair on that returns £150 and 23 pence. And if we win, all that money will go to Prostate Cancer UK. Plus, added bonus, for every stoppage time goal in the Premier League this weekend, Betfair will donate £10 to Prostate Cancer UK. So keep an eye on that as well, raising a lot of money for charity, because that's what we're all about.
Oh, yeah.
That's exclusive to Betfair Sportsbook. T's and C's apply, 18 plus only. And for more information on responsible gambling, head to begambleaware.org.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
It never gets boring, that one. Hello to Jake Powell on Instagram, who said, "Hello Peter, please can you change the ding sound for the correct answer on Jack's Encyclopedia, please? It's really loud when I'm driving compared to the voices." I've been listening since I was 16. I'm now 25, so thanks for partly bringing me up. Imagine feeling like we're somehow his dad.
Is there a class action lawsuit on the way for all these?
Sounds
all these
like
kids
it. Sounds
who
like
started out listening to
yeah.
us? Yeah.
Takes a ramble to raise a child.
Simple game of categories. I'll give you all a category. All you have to do is give me an answer that fits in that category. If you're too slow, you're going to hear Gary Neville. And let's kick things off with Vish.
Have you
for
turned the
first
ding
round,
down,
if
by the
that's
way?
all
Not
right with
bothered.
you. This is the first time I was reading the message, so I think that's quiet. I think that's quiet. Yeah. All right, Vish. We're going to kick things off with you. First grouping is strikers Spurs have signed since Harry Kane's first team debut in 2011, which was back August the 25th against Hearts in the Europa League
What
qualifying.
counts as a striker, though?
So that's out-and-out strikers that Spurs signed after that date. There are 7 players.
That's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough.
I've only got 7.
Soldado.
Correct, Marcus.
Carlos Vinicius.
Oh, that's good. Little Fulham link.
There you go.
Lovely stuff.
Vincent Janssen.
Oh, nice.
Nice, I like it.
That is good.
That's all I aim for. I haven't disgraced myself. That's all I aim for.
Yeah.
That's the one I had. Striker. Who is a striker? Who likes striking? My mind's gone completely blank.
I don't even know what that means. Marcus?
Strikers, eh? Oh, dear.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Stefan Everson. No, it's way early. Way early.
Luke, can we have one from you?
Come on, Marty.
Richarlison.
Richarlison.
Not a striker.
Does that
Not a
count?
striker.
That doesn't count.
Not a striker.
That doesn't count.
Counts. Luke's
Counts.
point. Luke's
Counts.
point.
We
It's
all
on his
knew
list.
Richarlison.
It's on his list. It's on his list. Counts.
It's on my list.
We've
so
been
it
done.
counts.
We've been done.
So,
Vish.
He's
Richarlison.
playing up front. He's a striker.
Look,
He'll have number 9 in a
Vish, the big competition today was the Harry Kane one, which I won. So I'm kind of.
Lukey Moore wins that
I've
round.
got my Bundesliga title.
Can we not undermine the fact that I've just won a point for the first time in about 6 months?
You could have had Emmanuel Adebayor.
Oh, blimey.
Undeniably a
Great
striker. Fernando Llorente.
Oh, yeah.
Zaha.
Llorente.
Louis Saha.
Yeah.
Louis
I forgot
Saha.
he'd gone there.
I loved Louis Saha. He should have stayed at Newcastle.
What's the takeaway from that
Had
round?
a terrible time. Lukey Moore wins that
If
round.
I start the
Well
season
done,
off with a
mate.
win, this is going to be
Well
massive.
done.
It's going to be massive.
All right, round number 2. Kicking things off with Marcus.
Let's have an England one.
It's England based. Jürgen Klopp signings at Liverpool. 41 players.
Oh, blimey.
But he never gets the support. He never gets the support.
No. Mo Salah. I was going to say that better.
It's going to be a job for production to tick these off as they go. Find these in the list.
Darwin Núñez.
Darwin Núñez.
Luis Diaz.
Virgil van Dijk.
Alexis McAllister.
Lovely.
Naby Keita.
Yep.
Sadio Mane.
Fabinho.
Andy Robertson.
Nice.
Ooh, nice, like
yeah,
that.
nice.
I'm struggling as to who we had
I'm
already.
concentrating on the list. I'm like, where's the list?
Alisson Becker, have we had him?
Nice. Full name as well. Good
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see.
Yeah, good to see.
Roberto Firmino.
Oh! It was just before.
Unlucky.
I
Just
thought it was
before.
his first signing.
Clearly not. There's plenty on this list, though. 41 of them. Unlucky, Luke. You've got the point in the bag.
Exactly,
You've
I'm
got the
relaxed.
round in the
I can
bag. You're
relax,
relaxed. Yeah, you're
I feel
chilled
like
out.
Tim Hemmer in the second week of Wimbledon.
Lovely.
All right, Vish.
Cody Gakpo.
Nice.
Oh, like that, is it?
Yeah. Lovely names in here.
John Matip.
Very good.
Yes. The only entrant with an umlaut.
Ibrahima Konate.
Correct.
James Milner.
Oh.
Was he?
I was a little bit like, well, I mean, it's out of left field.
So
but
I
I'm
need to
having
guess
it.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan Shaqiri.
I like
Very well played.
that.
Well done.
played.
Points of Vish.
Confusing me because I forgot that it's spelt with an X. The big list. All right, we got
Marcus, pointless.
Yeah,
Pointless.
Marcus,
Richard Osman.
but you've got the chance in the last round. Final round.
Final round.
Final round. And
Me first.
And you're going to kick things off, Luke. But
Luke goes
Marcus
first.
needs to get in here to get to the tiebreak.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, fun. All right, Luke, are you ready?
Yeah.
Name the 20 Premier League managers in charge on the first day of the 2020-21 season.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Name the 20 Premier League managers in charge on the first day of the 2020
So
season.
Luke has to name all 20, otherwise he's out, yeah?
Okay, Guardiola.
Erik Ten Hag.
You didn't hear the question properly, Vish, did you?
No.
Oh, no.
So it's not this season.
No,
No,
What did you
2021.
say?
2020-21 season.
Right.
Yeah.
Touch for you, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go for Jürgen Klopp.
Did you think that as well?
I did.
Unbelievable. Get a tiebreak. I'm on your side now.
So it's me versus Marcus.
And me.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Who was manager on the Everton 2021 season? Brendan Rodgers.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
I didn't
Hey,
didn't see it.
whoa. What? What's going on?
passing notes to Marcus.
Outrageous.
That is
Reverend
so
over there.
naughty.
It's outrageous.
We've got it on camera. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's Torres.
Eddie Howe?
Oh, that's really interesting, but it's wrong.
Oh, and Luke Moore's done it.
Lukey Moore has done it.
I've actually won.
Who wins?
Just by saying Guardiola and Rodgers, I won.
There you go.
Yeah.
Done it.
Does that count as the first match of the season, or was last week the first match of the season?
Well, the Premier League hasn't kicked off yet, so it's still pre-season.
Okay. All right, good stuff. All right, let's get out of here. That
You're
was Jack's
useless,
Encyclopedia.
I know. I do.
You don't even listen to the questions, you two.
Shouldn't have to.
So simplify
Gut feel.
them.
It's about gut feel.
Simplify the process and
Do you know
make
what?
up the referees.
There's nothing more pathetic than Vish trying to pass a clue to Marcus, and you look at it, it just says Klopp. Like the
He
most,
didn't even say it.
He's just written the word shoot, like Paul Ince that time.
the most obvious manager of all of them.
No, but I wrote Rob Edwards. You're completely wrong.
You've written Will Carling.
Well, there we are, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show sponsored by Betfair, part of the Acast Creator Network. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. Well done, Luke Moore, for winning Jack's Encyclopedia. But of course, the main competition was that Harry Kane one, which I won.
Keys.
Richard Keys.
Is the season officially open?
The season is open, baby. There they are.
Hairy hands.
The keys in the lock. The weekend and the season open together.
Yeah.
Lovely.
How about that?
You need more, let's get more keys.
Thanks to Pitbull.
Pitbull's there
Yeah.
doing his thing. There we are. Thank you, Luke Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete Donaldson.
Ta-ta.
Thank you for Susan Hadraja.
Buonasera.
Thank you, Pitbull. And we'll see you very, very soon. Enjoy the football. Pitbull.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.